Bay Blues is what this song's about.
What's going on, everybody? We are back once again, season 4, episode 4. I'm excited, pumped up for tonight. We have, as a sponsor for tonight's show, we have Crazyhorse Fishing Rods. David and Kelly do great stuff, build custom fishing rods, and refurbish that old grandpa's fishing rod that you want to bring back to life. They're good people. Also, all season long, we have Eric Packard of Fish Talk Magazine and pro staff of Native Kayak, his artwork in the background. This one is a personal gift to me, so it is not on sale. But if you have any interest in any of Eric Packard's artwork, I had a business card. Actually, I got it right here. Let me hang on. Boom. Bam. Look at that. Eric Packard's business card right there. So he does a lot of artwork. This is a striped bass, I believe he did for July 4th. And this is a largemouth bass. If you look at some of my other episodes that are already recorded, there's a lot of his stuff on there. So finally ready to talk about the upcoming guest. We have Jim Cooper from Heroes on the Water in a few weeks. And I just recently confirmed with Chris Bush of Speckled Truth. So I'm super excited about that. Chris Bush of Speckled Truth is a podcast dedicated to speckled trout. It really covers speckled trout fishing all up and down the East Coast, across the nation, but primarily up and down the East Coast and Louisiana and Texas. So that's pretty dope. And then next week we have, if you guys have heard of Legion of Anglers, Butch Huber is going to join us from Legion of Anglers. And I'm really excited to hear about what they got going on with that group. That Facebook page is just bumping. They got stuff happening there every week. So a lot happening here. A lot left to be excited about for this season. Tonight, I've known this guy for probably a couple of years now. But Brandon, the Baltimore Angler, is joining us tonight. Let me bring Brandon in. What's going on, Brandon? How are you, sir? Baltimore Angler.
Thank you for having me, man.
You're welcome, bro. Brandon's been fishing since he was 8 years old. If you saw in the intro to the show, he was a former state trooper and now is a YouTube sensation.
I don't know about sensation, but it's
hey man, compared to my subscribers, you're a sensation. He started his YouTube channel in 2018. He now has over 3,000 subscribers. Sponsored by High Hook. Brandon, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm just glad to be here. We tried to set this up once before. I didn't pay attention to the message, and I take the full responsibility for that because I just didn't pay attention. Grant said, "Hey, man, you ready for the night?" I said, "What are you talking about, ready for the night? Man, the podcast night. Is that tonight?" Yeah. I looked at the email, and I was like, "Oh, I did not even see that part." So this is take 2, and I actually made it this time. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I love that saying of yours. But we're just going to say you were fishing that night.
That's right.
That's the only real excuse. I'm going to say you were fishing and you caught a 8.5-foot bull shark.
That's right. That's all it was, man. It almost bit me too. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So how's your fishing season been going? I know you haven't been fishing a whole lot, but
I tell you,
what you got going on? What's going on in the Baltimore Angler's life?
2021, man, it's been just so crazy because now that I'm seeing some goals that I've really been trying to attain, a particular goal, can't say much about it, but it's really taken a lot of time from me being able to fish. And by now, I'd have a lot of snakeheads, a few sharks under my belt, countless blue cats. But it's been so crazy because now that I've kind of haven't been as active on YouTube, the subs seem like they're starting to roll in a little bit more now. And it's rough, but I mean, at the same point in time, this is something that I've been working on for my whole life. So at some point, I had to draw a line. What's more important to you? Because I love to fish, I want to fish, but at the same point, I got to do what I need to do to try to get this kicked off and rolling, because now the prospect of it happening is like in my face and is real right now. So, but
bro, all I'm hearing is TBA needs to get his priorities straight.
there's
there's
much
fishing, there's fishing, then there's life.
I
understand. I hear you.
If YouTube paid me what some of my job and some of my side hustles paid me, then I'd be like, all right, cool. But YouTube live streams, I could probably pull in just a little bit of money. But again, that just depends on the audience that night. But yeah, man, it comes down to priorities. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about that. I'm gonna add that. Go ahead and add that to the agenda. I'm gonna go off the rails already on you. So how does a live stream actually make you any money?
All right. So when you live stream on YouTube, people can come in just like with StreamYard, what we're doing now. They can leave what's called a super chat or a super sticker. And what they do is they pay through Apple or Google for that. And it could be anywhere from 99 cents to $100. And as soon as you make that purchase, it pops up as a super chat or super sticker on the live stream. Now, it doesn't sound like much, 99 cents here or there, but when you continue to go live, your audience obviously builds up. And I know there's two guys, they had a tournament going on. Each of them raised apart, I think, like $1,500 just in that live stream. So
wow.
If you stick to it, if you stay on that path and continue doing live streams, doing different things, the potential to make some real money streaming your YouTube on YouTube could really bring in dollars like that. Of course, YouTube takes their 30%, but there's like my buddy Has Life. That dude he's killing it. I mean, he makes hundreds and hundreds of dollars every live stream just from super chats. And then you take them to the account too when you're monetized on YouTube. If you have videos that are doing well, you have a video that goes viral, that's also money that's also coming in as well.
Sounds like I need a sticker on this show, right?
I'm telling you, man, live stream. Now, the only downside is becoming so saturated, more and more and more people are doing it now. So now you really, as a YouTuber, you really have to be creative to try to do something completely different and wowing as apart from what everybody else is doing. Because a lot of these live shows, the camera's sitting there, people are just talking and fishing, and you got to be able to communicate with your audience. There's some people who live stream, they have their iPad where they're reading the comments off their iPad, but they're about 50 feet away from the camera. You can't see them. Your facial expressions, you one-on-one with your viewers is everything. And the ones who actually know how to communicate, keep a conversation going when the bite's slow, those are the ones who actually have more success making that money on the live stream.
I mean, I'll be straight up, Brandon. When I'm out in the water, like, it's enough to handle the boat, to make sure my equipment's going well, like camera, engaging with I can barely engage with other human beings in person as it is.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. People who go live from their boats tend to do a lot better than people who go live from land. Palmetto Cats, I haven't really watched Chunky Cat a lot lately, but Palmetto Cats, Kevin Lake and his buddy of mine down in South Carolina, this guy is an artist when it comes to putting live streams together. He has game shows, the Golden Whiskers Awards. I mean, he brings some of these bigger channels to Northwoods Angling. He brings in a lot of people to the community, man. And it's a really good way to network with other catfish anglers, you know. But you got a boat and you able to live stream, man, I'm telling you.
Maybe something I think about, but I guess the other thing is, I mean, if you're going to live stream, you got to be somewhere with some pretty decent signal, right?
That's another thing that can make or break your live stream. That's actually why I switched from Straight Talk to Verizon, because for the longest time I had Straight Talk and the signal would just be so awful. Everybody would comment, "Man, your stream looks like something from the 1980s." And I said, I can see it just fine on my end, but when the stream would wrap up, I'd go home and watch it. It really looked bad. So I said, "Hey, if I'm going to start streaming regular, I need to get a dependable service." So I did away with Straight Talk. I went with Verizon. Never had any issues ever since with my streaming or my signal. What a lot of people do, they got personal hotspot. They'll have their iPad and they'll use that as like a signal relay so that they'll have a good signal as well. And then the only other thing too, if you're an iPhone user, I've never had this issue, but I've heard that the iPhones will overheat in the summertime if you try to go live stream. If you try to stream live. So yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can see that.
Magician, Has Life, they each have had an issue where just the heat outside combined with the heat that the phone generates, sometimes it disrupts the live streams as well.
Well, we're here to talk about fishing, right? I brought up the live stream, but we're going to be talking, for those of you tuning in, we're going to be talking about catfish tonight, sharks, snakehead, whatever other kind of fishing comes up. Brandon, you've been fishing since you were what, 8 years old?
8 years old, yep.
So we got a lifelong, and what are you, 65 now, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm probably more like 19, you know what I'm saying? 19 years old.
So you've been fishing for 11 years. Guys, lifelong angler here, multi-species, and he has a prize for the best question of the night. You know how we do it here, guys.
That's right.
Prize for the best question. Brandon is sponsored by High Hook. So let's see what you got for the prize for the question of the night, Brandon.
All right, so highhook.org, man, it is a fishing apparel company based out of Hempstead, New York. I'm in real good with all of I think it's 4 owners that they have. I got all the shirts that they have. They have hats. They have face shields, which is actually what I'm giving away tonight. They had a new one that just came out. And they also have sun visors. Females, they have bikinis. I believe they have shorts. I mean, it's just all kinds of different apparel. But the one that we're going to be giving away tonight, the one that they just came out with, is the face shield, American flag high hook face shield right there, man. They just came out with this bad boy probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, you could go to highhook.org and you can order it. I believe it is $8 per face shield. But if you go to highhook.org, type in the discount code Baltimore Angler. It's all one word. Type that in at the checkout. You get 15% out.
Is it the Baltimore Angler, Brandon, or Baltimore Angler?
Baltimore Angler. All right.
And you sent it to me all in caps.
Yeah, you it doesn't matter if it's in all caps or not. But I think when you type it in, it's automatically in all caps. But Baltimore Angler, it's all one word, and you get 15% off your order. And that's not just a one-time deal. If you want to go back, buy some more stuff repeatedly, you could put that same discount code in. All right. And again, this is going to be the one we're giving away tonight. They got another one that it's just like this, but it looks like it kind of has a shade cast over it. But this, I ordered this as soon as I saw that they released it, man. And I said, you know what, Grant, we're going to give this away on the show tonight. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. So we actually already have a question rolling in from my man Kevin Hogan. He says, "Are you able to share your secret bait? Secret. I got secret bait on landing big sharks."
All we do, man, we just go out. We'll catch some dogfish, some skate. And the biggest thing is it to be fresh. The dogfish, while we're waiting for the big poles to take off, We got our smaller poles out there, just a little. I'm not sure what the bait they use. I know me, I'll use a little piece of squid sometimes, put it on the hook, cast it out. The dogfish hits, bam, right there. Don't know if there's
And then you
anybody.
use the dogfish for bait.
That's correct. Yeah, we take a 20. I have a 20 owner circle hook, and we'll hook it through the head first, and then we'll again hook it through the torso of the dogfish. And because where we need to fish at is way too far to cast, so we'll take a kayak and we'll kayak the baits out. And we'll typically use like a 10 or 12 ounce pyramid sinker, just depending on what the current conditions are.
And I'm not to mess with you because I know the show just started, but by we'll take a kayak out, we're not talking about you'll take a kayak out.
I've not yet. I have my kayak now. I'm still kind of getting over the jitteriness, but my buddy Kevin, man, he's been doing this forever. Not Kevin Hogan, Kevin Van Vleisman, who lives up in North Jersey. We go shark fishing all the time, and he actually has a business where he just started a shark land-based shark charters. It's out of Cape May, New Jersey, and I believe it's Broadkill Beach in Delaware.
Got it. I've got another question coming in.
Yeah.
From Rashawn, Rashawn, when we hook up, we were meant to go fishing the other day, but the weather looked like it was probably okay, but we had to call it in the morning. But I'm gonna start calling you Cover Boy whenever I see you. Rashawn Hunt says, Brandon, why were you asleep in my truck when we were fishing?
Because that morning we had made plans to go snakehead fishing. Rashawn, me, and Cambo. I had just gotten off of work. I did not go to sleep. I went home, got everything I needed, got dressed, and I headed straight over to Rashawn's house. And at the time, the bite was kind of slow. There was a lot of bass hitting. Cambo was just making the bass just dance and was just charming them right to his lure. And me, I couldn't catch a cold to save my life that day. And so I started getting tired. And then what happened next, went to Rashawn's truck. I took me a little nap until this cardinal showed up. It's Rashawn's pet cardinal that keeps messing with him over there. But it kept flying around, and I was out of it, man. I mean, I had been on absolutely no sleep working all night the night before. I wanted to be a good sport. I did not want to cancel on them, but, sometimes I think mentally I still think I'm in my 20s.
Wait, I thought you were 19. What's going on?
Well, you know what I'm saying? Self-identify as 19. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you were saying. So tell us about High Hook. You told us a little bit about it before. Tell us about your history with them.
They started just following me on Instagram one day, and I saw their apparel on there. And what really intrigued me, they have their prices are a lot cheaper than what you see with some of these other companies. And one thing that really stuck out with me, if you place an order, as much stuff as I've ordered from them, I've never had an issue with it getting from where they're based out of to my house. I've never, ever had an issue.
Where are they based out of again?
They're based out of Hempstead, New York, just out Nassau County, just east of New York City. But, and we would just kind of talk back and forth. They promote me. I'd wear their gear. So I told them one day, I said, hey, if you want, I can try to get you connected with some of my fan base. So here's what I need you to do. Give me a discount code that I can use personalized to me. And then every one of my videos, I'll shout it out and, and I'll get your name out there and bring you in some more business. So bam, they did it. We entered partnership, man. And here we are. When I got into this YouTube game, I did not think I was going to have anyone like that, like in my corner like that. And, they always let me know when they got new stuff that comes out. I had a hat, but I could not find it. But again, there's just so many different apparel that they're wearing. They're just growing and growing and growing. They're basically on Instagram. They have a presence on Facebook, but their bread and butter is Instagram.
You mentioned when you first started off on YouTube, a really cool thing to do with anybody's YouTube channel, like including your own or my own, look at somebody that has 100,000 subscribers, is to go back
I
And
do it with
look at
all of them.
that first video. It's crazy, isn't it?
I do it
Like
with
almost
every
everybody's first
single.
video is like,
And
them petting their dog or something. Like, this is Rover.
it's not, and it's not just fishing. Every single YouTuber I follow who's grown a big channel, I always go back to their very first video. One that was really intriguing was what's his name? Catch 'em all fishing. Zach Catchem. Now I'll admit I'm not a very big fan of his, and with the recent things I found out about him. But his very first video was not even a fishing video. It was him wearing these little pink pants with his pink hat and sunglasses, and he's in the gym just working out to like this house music. I'm like, what is the world is this? But it's so cool to see how some of these guys, they start from the beginning, and then you see how their YouTube channel transformed. John B, another big time fishing YouTube channel, he's been on for over 10 years. We literally watched him grow up from a little kid to the man he is now on YouTube. And it's just one of the coolest things to see,
That's great. My first one is I called it Magic on the Magathy. And I think everyone tunes in thinking I'm gonna have this like awesome fishing day. It's like a 35-second video that basically has me trying to get in a kayak in the middle of the winter and completely busting my butt.
I saw that. I did see that video. I was like, what?
People are like, oh, this guy's got all this gear on. He's about to tear up the fish. Nope, just busted my butt. And I didn't know. I just wanted to have a way to share a silly video with some friends at the time. I had no idea.
My first video, I seriously was about to give up YouTube when I fought with my first video, because that was my third attempt. Previous 2 attempts I got skunked. That day I already had caught bait, and at the time I didn't have a bait tank set up at the house. So what I would do, I had this little fray bill where I had a rope, and I would go out to the Patapsco, tie it up to something, and let them just stay in the Patapsco. Well, that morning before I head to the Potomac, I go down there, and the rope was cut, my fray bill and all my bait was gone. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So I'm like, dang, I don't want to spend forever catching more bait. So I just went ahead and I said, screw it. I'll just get some minnows. I'll make up a batch of my Jello garlic chicken bait, and I'll just go down there and see what happens, man. And ended up catching a 16-pound blue cat, and I caught what's still my PB smallmouth bass, which was 3.16 pounds.
You caught a smallmouth bass on some garlic chicken?
No, it bit the minnow. And what happened, there were these kayakers, this recreational kayakers going down the water. I thought their paddle hit my line. So I'm like, okay, no, they just hit my line. Then I look, my pole is still going off. And I'm like, what the world? So start reeling and I feel something pulling a little bit. So I started reeling in and the bass started jumping out. Now, at the time, I did not know the difference between a largemouth and smallmouth bass. So I'm on the video, yo, man, it's a nice largemouth bass. Look at that largemouth bass right there. And I posted on all the fishing pages, all the Fishing Maryland. Look, you guys, look at this largemouth bass right here.
Fishing Maryland, that page is brutal.
Oh, yes, they are. And the first comment, hey, man, that kind of look like a smallmouth, but that's a nice fish. Then the second and the third and the fourth, and then finally, yeah, but that's a smallmouth, but that's a nice fish. So that's a nice smallmouth. And I was like, okay, smallmouth, okay. And see, in the video, I called it a largemouth bass. So I had some fun editing it, and I kind of poked fun of myself to try to make the video kind of stick out. And that was my first video, man.
Yeah, I was actually out in the water. I mean, we're always learning, man. Everybody's and I'm a light tackle guy. Anybody who's ever gone fishing with me knows. Actually, Kevin Hogan, who's on here tonight, him and I were out fishing, and the plan was just to go around catching mackerel while trolling, and hopefully we come across some redfish, right? But like I'd never trolled for anything with heavy gear. Like I have 2 trolling rigs, but like I never use them.
Yeah.
And I called a charter boat captain, Brian McCormick, who comes on this show sometimes. And I was like, so what do I do with the planer boards? And he was like, first of all, they're just planers. They're not planer boards. And I was like, I don't know. Like it was complete. Like I'm 46 years old. I've been fishing since I was, could walk. 40-something years later, I'm still learning stuff. So You know, I think that's funny. Smallmouth bass, largemouth bass. But I think some people, TBA, I think some people want that face mask because we only have like 5 or 10 people watching, but everyone's asking all these questions. So Butch Huber, who's going to be coming up sometime soon, says, "What's your personal best cat?" And then I guess he wants personal best for all species ever, Butch.
I can give you my PBs for all of them. So we'll start small. We'll start with the Channel Cat. The Channel Cat PB was 12.2 pounds. April 2018. I wasn't even on YouTube yet. We had a freak storm that came through here and just absolutely blew out the.
Is this hold up? Is the cover photo? Is that the personal best?
That's a personal best flathead, and that was about 2 months. Excuse me. That flathead was about 2 months ago. That was a bittersweet catch. That flathead really disappointed me, but I'll get to that in a second. So with the Channel Cat, you know, this was the first time I'm using a Jello garlic chicken bait. And for whatever reason, every time that I have some BS that happens before a fishing trip, the fishing's awesome. If I have everything according to plan, everything goes smoothly from planning to actually getting out on the water, I skunk, I don't catch nothing. So I'm sitting here, I'm with my buddy who's also a YouTuber, that hook set. We're out here going after channel cats, and he got me on the spot. Oh man, Brett, I got a new bait, so we're gonna try it out. So we threw the Jello garlic chicken bait out, and it was on fire. And when the 12-pound channel cat hit, you know, it came up and then it went right back down, and so I had to loosen the drag to make sure I didn't break off, because at the time I wasn't really sure what good fishing line was, and I thought that the cheap stuff I got off of wish.com was all right, but thankfully it held up during that fight. And we got the channel cat in. That thing was about as big as my thigh, man. It was just an awesome day of channel cat fishing. Pound for pound, I think channel catfish are the best of the big three. Out of flatheads, blue cats, I think channel cats will give you the hardest fight pound for pound. Flatheads, the picture that you used, that was a 33-pound flathead. Was out on the Susquehanna. I'm trying to get more familiar with the Susquehanna now, because the Potomac, unfortunately, is just overrun with YouTubers. There's so many YouTubers, so many new YouTubers on the Potomac, and every spot. There's not too many spots that people don't know anymore. So that 33-pounder hit, it seriously felt like it was 12, 13 pounds. It wasn't giving me no type of fight whatsoever. So I'm like, you don't feel that big. Oh, wait a minute. And he pulled a little bit, but then he, you know, but when it surfaced, just seen this big old brown head come up, and oh my goodness, I was like, whoa. And before that, my PB was about 20 pounds. That was on the not the Susquehanna, but the Schuylkill River up in Philly. That one about gave me a heart attack, because this was about 4 a.m. I was nodding off, falling asleep, and next thing I know, the drag peel just took off. It woke me up. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just like wiping sleep out my eyes.
That'll wake you up. Best sound in the world, right?
Oh my goodness. And every time a flathead loves to hit when I'm not paying attention or when I'm like halfway asleep. Sunset, sunrise are about the best time in the summertime you want to target flatheads. And then there was the blue cat in 2018. That one was 56 pounds. That was completely unexpected, because we were fishing in DC. We were fishing on a dock that we didn't know we weren't supposed to be on. So we're sitting here fishing, and this lady comes up to us with her phone, and we think she wants us to take a picture of her with some of the monuments in the background. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, y'all can't fish down here. All right. So we move all our stuff. We move over probably about 300 yards off the dock. My buddy Jason, he's just slaying 20-pounder here, 10-pounder there. And that hook set, he's just on net duty. I'm just sitting there chilling because I ain't caught nothing yet. So Jason probably had like a 5-pound blue cat. Dan's about to net it. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a pole going off all by itself. I was like, oh, snap. So I go grab the pole, set the hook, and this fish pulls me right back down to the water. I'm like, whoa, okay. So
if you guys have never met Brandon, TBA is not a small dude.
Yeah.
What are you, about $150?
Yeah, I'm about 170 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Times 2.
Yeah, I was about 170 pounds when I came out of my mama. You know what I'm saying? 170-pound fetus. Nah.
That's a big baby.
But I start fighting this fish, and I'm thinking I'm being lazy because I'm just sitting here laughing, cutting up, having a good time. And so I start concentrating. I'm like, this thing ain't moving, dog. I don't know if he's caught on something or what, but he's just not moving. So I'm gonna start taking it nice and easy. And every single time he pulls me right down to the water. I mean, I have to hold on him. So he starts swimming towards the dock, still won't come up. And finally, after a while, I start backing up a little bit because I'm trying to gain leverage to try to get some sort of fight on this fish because I can't stop it. So finally, Dan was the first one to see it. He goes crazy. He's like, oh, no, my goodness, give me the net. So we had a regular handheld net, and then we had a bridge net. The catfish was not going to fit in our handheld net, so we had to get the bridge net. I still couldn't see it. Jason in the season, he starts throwing F-bombs left and right. Holy, that's a big fish. Oh, my gosh, blah, blah, blah. So finally, I see his tail, and I was like, oh, my gosh, the tail fin is huge. So he get it netted, get it on the shore, finally weigh it, and it weighed 56.8 pounds. We still think, some of us still think it was over 60 pounds because what happened, the scale was only rated for 50 pounds. So anytime it would go over 50 pounds, it would say, oh, well, and they go back to 50 and go back to, oh, well. And so finally, it just kept doing that, and it just locked in automatically at 56.8. I was like, whoa. And so I'm like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. And this was a pre-front condition. It was really warm that morning. This was the beginning of March, and there was a huge snowstorm that was coming in. What you didn't see on the video, after we took the picture, you know, in DC, everybody's jogging. There's cops all over the place. So there were actually people stopping from biking and running. There were a line of people lining up just to get a picture of the three of us with this 56-pound catfish. And after a while, I'm getting tired. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is so heavy. So
I think I've seen the picture. You're wearing like a black sweater or something.
The black sweater with the mossy oak pants, man. It was so unexpected because we were going to go fish and have a good time, but we weren't expecting that 56-pounder to hit.
So what do you do with it? Like, what do you do with a fish like that? You can't really eat it, can you?
No, you don't want to eat them like that. But we did. We put it back in the net because we were kind of off of the water a little bit from where we were fishing, and we just lowered it back in the water, held it there until we got its strength back, and it took off. You know.
So he's still out there.
Yes, he's hopefully someone has caught him. You know, because that was probably one of the most epic catches. But now it's time to, and now what I've been recently wanting to do is go down to the James River, because down there you could catch a 60 or 70 pounder in the James River like you catch a 30 or 40 pounder in the Potomac, man. There are some beasts of blue catfish in the James River.
I want to point something out that you said about the Potomac River. Not that it's overcrowded with fishermen. You said it's overcrowded with YouTubers.
There are so many. There's a reason I hardly fish the Potomac anymore. There's so many new YouTubers down there, and it's like week after week after week. You see people, hey, I'm new to YouTube. This is a new YouTube channel, blah blah blah, and now it's even gotten so bad that I'll go on some fishing pages and I'll see where people have taken snapshots of that video, and they say, hey, where's the spot? I'm trying to find this spot. I'm trying to catch a fish like that. I won't say a word because I'm not going to let them know I'm the one that caught the fish, but I'll just sit there. I'll just kind of laugh and look at the pictures, just follow the comments. Oh man, I seen that video. That was a big fish, blah, blah, blah. But you know, it's so many YouTubers who go live, and a lot of the same YouTubers go live from the same spots now too. So if you really want to get on some of these bigger fish, you got to have a kayak or a boat or something like that, because the shorelines are they're getting overrun slowly by YouTubers.
Yeah, so hang on a second. My daughter's caused some technical issues. You got to keep the headphones in your ears.
Yeah, just these hurt.
Okay, then. I don't think we want a Disney movie soundtrack on the background. You got to leave if you want to watch the movie. You got to leave.
I probably know the words.
I'm sorry, y'all. Uh, but so getting back to catfish, I mean, we could talk all about the biggest catches, but people want to know how to catch them, right? So walk us through that. Like what kind of tackle you using, bait, lures, technique?
So me, I am the oddball in the catfish community because I believe that break offs, snags, those are things that are just a waste of time. Uh People look at me funny when they see my catfish setup. So I have 3 poles, all medium heavy action. The reels I use are the Okuma AFB Avengers, and they're the 55 series. And that's because, one, it can hold enough line. It has enough line capacity where I've actually fought a shark with that setup before. There's about 100-pound even shark, and I was able to keep line on that reel. 2, it's a very versatile reel where you could switch from saltwater to freshwater. 3, it is a bait feeding reel as well. So that way, I've been the unfortunate one. I've had 3 rods pulled in by big cat. Well, 2 were big catfish. 1 was a channel catfish that I underestimated. But that bait feeder allows them to run, and your pole's going to sit right there. In terms of fishing line, I only use, as a matter of fact, I think economically when I get my fishing line, I don't go to the bait and tackle stores. I will order a 3,000 yard spool of Daiwa J Braid X8. That stuff, you cannot break it. I mean, you could seriously, I could string it up on the wall. It could probably hold me up just fine. That's how strong that line is.
Hey, you got a wide view on your camera. I think we all want to see that.
I have to go back there and dig it out, but it's kind of, but 3,000.
I think this sounds like your next YouTube video, though.
Was that
stringing yourself up with a Daiwa fishing line?
Now I will say this: the 200-pound sandbar shark I caught last summer, that line it couldn't do nothing to that line. I mean, and that was probably the hardest fighting fish I've ever fought in my life because I was sore for 3 days after that fight.
Wow.
But, that line held up just fine. And that was 80 pounds that I used as the base on that line. And then with the catfish, I don't use a lot of catfishermen. They use slime line or Berkeley's big game. Me, I use actual saltwater steel leaders, and I crimp them down with 1/4 crimps as a leader. And I use a 10-aught circle hook. 1, because that hook will get the catfish. 2, bigger circle hooks kind of minimizes your chance of hooking a smaller catfish. They will hit from time to time, but that 10-aught, it's not too often that the big ones, the smaller ones, are going to get that hook. They will, but not too often. Again, a lot of people look at me, yeah, it's overkill. That's too much. But my thing is this, I believe in being prepared when I go fishing. I don't want to have stupid stuff happen, snags, stuff like that. In fact, the only issue is if I do find a snag, I can either pull that whole snag out of water, or I have to fight like crazy to try to get that line to break. And because that Daiwa J braid just doesn't break like that,
What about technique? How are you? So we got all the gear. Bottom rig, how are you doing it?
So I use what I like to call a modified Santa Cooper rig. I have a sliding sinker on my main line, and it's normally a saltwater one because some of the cheaper freshwater ones typically break when you go with like 6 ounces of weight or more. I can't tell you how many times I've had that sliding sinker rig snap off. My rig and my line are going one way, and then the sinker's going another way, and then I have to retie back up and kind of finesse cast because the sliding sinker rig was weak. But it's the catch-all saltwater sliding sinkers that I use. I think Bass Pro is the only place I know that sells them, but I normally get them online. As for weights, I like to use the no roll sinkers. Some people call them the coin sinkers. I like to start out with like 3 to 4 ounces. I've had times where I've busted out 12-ounce sinkers and it just wasn't enough to hold the bottom. So at that point, normally when you have a lot of flooded conditions, you don't have to cast into the flooded waters, the open rivers. You could just cast a few feet out in front of you, because catfish, they're kind of a lazy fish. They don't want to be out there and all that craziness. They just want to relax and chill, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I also use a glow in the dark bead just to kind of protect the knots from everything too. So there's no metal on metal or anything like that as well.
So you're saying if you're fishing, let's just say the Potomac, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing a lot of current, so you'd rather throw that bait in more of like an eddy or a calm area off to the side.
A lot of times you could put it about 6 to 8 feet right out in front of you. You don't have to, when it's a flooded condition, if there's a lot of current, you don't have to cast far at all. So I've seen someone catch a 52-pound blue catfish. He casted like 10 feet out in front of him, and it was crazy because the line had got wrapped up around a tree limb, and when that fish hit, the tree limb broke, and it sounded like the line had snapped. So he thought he had lost the fish at first, but again, he didn't have to cast out that far at all. With blue cats, channel cats, when there's flooded conditions, you don't really have to cast out that far.
What's on the end of that hook? You able to talk about this chicken garlic concoction you put
Jello
together?
garlic chicken bait. It's kind of like my ace in the hole, but I don't depend on it wholly. My number one go-to, if I can catch fresh gizzard shad in the Potomac, that is hands down the best bait.
Matching the hat.
Now, second favorite bait is freshwater eel, and that's because with eel you only need one, and it doesn't matter how big or small the piece is. There is no catfish on this earth that can get that piece of eel off the hook. Their skin is so tough and durable, you cannot get it off the hook. Third favorite bait is fresh cut carp. It seemed, from what I know of other guys in the catfish community, all the guys I know who caught their PB blue cats have been on fresh carp. And carp, you could catch it around here, catch some for bait. I've hooked up with Tommy Robinson of Amped Up Fishing a couple times. We went after carp, and keep some for bait. If you want to and you really want to get froggy, you could vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer, and you're good to go for when, like, late September, early October, when that fall bite really starts picking up. You got fresh bait, you're good to go.
Cool. When are you targeting them? Pretty much all year. Aren't catfish one of these things you can catch all year long?
You can. Summertime is a little tougher because they go into deeper, faster moving water. And blue catfish are not really that active in the daytime when it's really hot outside. So you really want to either target them at night. I always tell people the 4 p.m. special. Something about 4 p.m. when I've always had different species of fish go from no bite to just insane action after 4 p.m. And from until that time when that sun goes down, it's just nonstop, you know.
Yeah, that was always my experience growing up catching blue catfish. Was like from 4 p.m. till right when it got dark was the best time. Like,
it never fails. It just seems like it's that all the time. And then seasons right when spring starts to set in, March, April, when a spring bite turns on. The best bait, if it was legal to use, American hickory shad. They tear them up on the Potomac, but you can't use it as bait on the Potomac or inside Maryland. So that's a no. And then late September, early October, just when that temperature starts to break from summertime into fall temperatures, that is probably my favorite time, because the catfish really seem to get a little more aggressive. They seem to run a little harder with the baits when they bite. And it's just, and just like what Kevin's saying right there, wintertime, you catch blue catfish all winter. And that's my favorite time, because that's when all what I call the comfort fishermen, they disappear. They put all their gear up. Oh, the fishing season's over for this year. Nah, man, it's the best time right here. Get you some cold gear and get out there, man.
Man, I hate to say it. I think I might be among those comfort fishermen. I just hate cold water. I mean, cold air. But I'm going to try to get over it this year. But usually, at least once a year, I head south for a fishing trip during the winter because I can't take it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, Oh, never mind. I can't talk about that. I've been gone with fishing, but I do got some plans coming up here in October for fishing. You know, I got a bucket list of fish that I want to go after, and there's the ultimate fish that I really want to go after that's not in America, and I'm slowly working up the ladder towards that ultimate fish right now.
Nice. Well, we look forward to hearing that. Before we get into, I want to talk about sharks, and then hopefully we have time to talk about snakehead. But Kevin, I'm sorry, I totally forgot about your question. I thought it was a good one. He asked, to an up-and-comer or angler looking to get into YouTube, what are the top 1 or 2 pieces of advice you would give them that you wish someone gave you when you started? Kevin, you're stealing my questions, bro. Come on now.
You got the script right here. I'm gonna ask this question before Grant does. So first thing I want to say, you know, don't be afraid to get skunked. If you go out to a spot, you know, I used to be one of these guys. Oh, well, you know, you can't always make them bite. You know, sometimes it's just like that. Well, no, there's always a reason why they're not biting. That might be the wind, might be the barometric pressure. They simply just could not be in that area for that day. It might be a good spot, you know, because I've had times where I've had spots on fire, and I've had other days where I couldn't even pay for a bite, you know. But the best way to actually get out and really get to know a spot is fishing. You know, you can look at all the technology that's out there, the photos and all these Google Maps and all this. And funny story, we were looking for a snakehead spot, me and a buddy of mine. And we said, oh, man, this spot looks awesome right here. Let's go to this spot. So we ventured out there. And, of course, it's just a basic overlay. It's not an actual satellite view. So when we get out there, we're already unprepared because it's just thorns and briar and just thickets of brush everywhere. Then, after we just suffer through that, we get to where we think the water's supposed to be. And we look, and we're actually standing in the middle of the water. But it's dried out. There's no water there. So, again, I always tell people, yeah, all this technology is great, but ain't nothing better than actually getting boots on the ground and going out there, hiking out for yourself and seeing what's actually out there, and then getting a line wet, getting a line in the water, because you just don't know what could be lurking out there. You know, when I went carp fishing with my buddy Anthony last year, you know, we were going after carp. I just decided to have some fun. I had my lures with me, and there was this fallen tree that I just kept throwing at, and after the third cast, I got a hit, and so I was like, oh, snap, something's on here. When I first saw it, I thought it was a snakehead. Okay, cool. I caught a snakehead up here. No, it was a chain pickerel. I had no idea chain pickerel were in this body of water, but now I know that they are. So, you know, go out and try. The best way to find out if a spot produces is to go out and actually look at it for yourself. And just because you don't have success one day doesn't mean it's not a good spot. One of my favorite channel catfish spots, it took me about a good 3 weeks to finally know how to properly fish this spot, what to use, where to cast, how far to cast, what depths I should go at. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, you know, and that's why I'm not a big fan of these apps like Fish Brain, because it takes away the instinct of the fisherman. It's just merely a tool for people to just go out and, oh, cool, there's a spot to catching fish right here. It does all the work for you. And, you know,
you know what? That's not just apps. I mean, nowadays, like my fish finder, I've got a Garmin fish finder on my boat, and they've got a live scope. I don't have it, but they've got a live scope that you basically put down in the water. It's a transducer that is very similar to a video camera. I mean, basically, right? You're basically having a live image of the fish swimming around. And I'm like, if I got that, would it make me a better fisherman or a worse fisherman? And I think it'd make me a worse fisherman. And I've heard that from a lot of people, is that they spend most of their time looking at that screen, not paying attention to other things, like looking at where the current's going, you know, looking at wind, looking at structure. And they find themselves, it's just like playing a video game. And I'm like, I don't play fishing video games for a reason, right?
That's same here. And another piece of advice I tell people too, if you ever go to Bass Pro, you know, everyone's always mesmerized by the big fish tank that they have in there. I always tell people, if you really want to study fish, go to that tank and see just what those fish are doing. You always see them hanging out around structure. The big blue cats are hanging out as deep as they can, and they're just slowly moving around. But it really gives you insight as to if you're targeting a specific type of fish, pay attention to what they're doing, because even though it's a scaled down version of their habitat inside of a store, the same law of physics still apply with the fish. They're still going to do what they naturally do if that structure is there that they see as protection. So, I always tell people that too. Study what those fish are doing. You see them hanging around structure. Well, hey, I need to cast around structure because out in the wild, they're going to be hanging around structure,
Yep. Yep. Let's talk sharks. We may not have time to get into snakehead, but we can always have you back in the winter sometime when people aren't all out fishing. Where do you go to catch sharks, and how do you catch them?
I go to New Jersey, and I got a couple spots in Delaware that I need to fish. I've been wanting to try acetique, but the problem is with acetique, so many people are fishing for them out there. And when you are talking shark fishing, it's not like catfishing or snakeheads where you can have a whole spread of poles. You need to have one pole for a wide open area, because that shark, you can blink and that shark is going to go 300 yards a different way in the blink of an eye. You need all that real estate so you don't get no tangles. You don't get don't get in anybody else's line. I've had this happen before. Thank goodness nothing bad happened, but there was a kid who was playing in the water. That shark, I was fighting, started swimming right for that kid. So I yelled to his mom, get your kid. And she saw it, and finally he turned around and, Mommy, it's a shark. But shark fishing, I'm kind of also a little apprehensive of taking new people too, because one thing is different from catfish, snakeheads. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing, because when you land it, it is just pandemonium. You're talking about a fish that with its tail fin, it can throw you to the ground. I've seen it throw a grown man to a ground before. But it's all about just respecting the species, respecting the strength that they have. They're a lot of fun, but again, you have to be hydrated. You got to be mentally prepared for that, because that's going to be at least a half-hour commitment, depending on the size and the motivation of that shark. But Cape May, New Jersey, and then there's a couple spots in Delaware, and then acetique. I might try out acetique one of these days, but I'm not in no rush, because right now that's a hot spot for people who want to catch sharks, basically.
Yeah, that's what I always hear about it whenever I have any interest and I do any Google searching, and around here everyone always says acetique, but I don't like fishing where other people are fishing. So
the more I've gotten into fishing, the more I'm the same way. I love the spots that you have to work to get to, because there's some people who will go out there, but there's a lot of people who won't, And then again with the sharks too, when I'm doing research, sometimes I see people who are out here catching them, they're misidentifying them, or they're taking a picture completely illegal, because the shark is smaller. They'll pull the whole thing out of water and pose with it like that. And I'm like, you're not supposed to take it out of water. Oh my goodness. But it's just all about the respect. And if you are not paying attention, if you just think you know what you're doing, you're going to get hurt. That 200 pounder I caught last summer, it almost bit my foot. That completely almost bit my foot because I wasn't paying attention. Our buddy Kevin, he got bit this year, got his whole hand. And when they lock down, they do not like to immediately let go. So, it's all
just as a result of that hand.
He has some scratches on him. Another thing too, the tail fin. For those who've never felt the skin of a shark, it kind of feels like it's almost like wet sandpaper, wet rubbery sandpaper. And because of how rough it is, if it smacks you, it can leave what looks like a carpet burn on your leg. That happened to Kevin 2 years ago. He got smacked in the ankle by a smaller one. It left a nasty little carpet burn like injury on his ankle, And then if you're fishing overnight, early morning, you got to watch for horseshoe crabs, man, because them horny things come up on the shore, and they're everywhere. And if you step on them, they could really do damage to your foot. So, there's a lot that goes into it when planning a shark trip.
So you're not dozing off when you're shark fishing, I guess, right?
I once, from my experience, if the full moon comes out, I'm taking a nap because from my experience with shark fishing, once that full moon comes out, that bite just turns off. There ain't nothing happening after that moon comes out. The only thing that's going to happen, you'll probably get some crabs that'll eat the insides of your bait. That's about it. But with sharks, it's pretty cool because you'll hear the drag peel go just a little slow. Then it'll stop. And it'll be a little slow. Then it'll start getting faster, and then bam, it takes off, man. And again, my current shark rod, my Okaya Black Venom, I got 900 yards of line on there. And again, if I'm not paying attention, if I'm far enough away, by the time I get to that pole, that shark may have already taken 500 yards off of that spool. That's just how it is. You will fight like crazy to gain a couple of inches, and then they'll get motivated. They'll give you one tug, and then that spool just takes off again. It ain't like just reeling in the snakehead or seeing that short fight where they're going crazy. This isn't a 100-meter dash. This is a marathon with the sharks. Now,
and I would imagine, not having done it, but I've caught large fish from a boat and a kayak, and there's this big advantage about being on a boat or a kayak because you're not on an object that's set, right? Like especially a kayak, a fish can pull you, and it's almost like having a second drag.
Yeah.
Right? If you're standing on shore, I mean, what do you do? Like, if a fish makes a run, you just hope the drag doesn't take all the
hold on, let him wear out. If it continues running, you might have something bigger than that, because that's one thing with saltwater. It could be anything. You just have no idea what could be on the other end of that hook. I've had this happen to a buddy of mine, 2002. We're going after king mackerel, and down in Florida, he's sitting there reeling a fish. He has a mackerel on. Well, this kingfish comes out of nowhere, slams a mackerel. Then now the kingfish gets a hook. Almost had it on the boat, but as the captain was getting ready to pull it in, it got off and got away. And I was like, dang.
I had the same kind of thing down in Fort Myers, just fishing, in the Gulf and catching jacks and all sorts of other things. And before you get it to the boat, all of a sudden out of nowhere, big shadow, bull shark.
Yep.
And like, talk about power. There's nothing you can do. You just basically, the only thing you can do is grab a hold of your reel and let them break you off.
Yes, that's it. And again, you just never know what's on the other end of that hook. Mahi, that's another one. We actually jigged for them. That was a different trip, but same period in 2002. That was probably one trip I said, here, take my pole, man. I'm done. I'm tired. Because when we found them, they would not stop. I mean, would not stop hitting. And they are motivated. They fight. They go flying in the air. They do not stop. When you get them in the boat, they are still fighting. And I was just like, yo, I'm tired, man. He's Maya whooping my butt, man. Here, take my pole. I need to break.
You got to go to the gym to get ready to fish, right?
Yeah. Same thing with the sharks, man. I make sure I'm well hydrated and I'm stretched out and good to go, because saltwater fishing is a whole different monster depending on what you're going for. And me, what I'd like to do, I'd like to eventually get a decent boat to where I could transition from freshwater to saltwater, because I can't lie, I love freshwater fishing, but saltwater is just so exciting, though. You just have no idea what's going to be on the other end of that,
B, the invitation is there anytime you want, man. Let's do it.
You just let me know.
I probably can't put you on any sharks, but I mean, we've had a debate pretty much in this chat column almost every week about what pulls harder, bull reds or snakehead. And like, I think some of these guys, some of these Legion of Angler guys, need to get a bull red on the end of their hook, because
now I can't really say much about snakeheads because my PB, man, it's only like 5 pounds. And I got this kayak but I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of like I kind of feel a little nervous with the kayak sometimes, but I don't know why, man. It's just I don't think I've spent enough time with it. I need to get more comfortable with it because I've had this kayak for over a year now, and I've only taken it out maybe 4 or 5 times. You know what I'm saying? But
what kind of kayak is it again?
it is a New Canoe Classic
That's right.
12. As a matter of fact, the last video they put out, New Canoe put out on YouTube for that brand kayak was over 10 years ago. It was basically my buddy Kevin, not Hogan, but Van Vlashman. He found the ad on Facebook as soon as it got posted, and I messaged him. And I said, yo, man, because he was trying to sell it for like $900. I said, $900 for a New Canoe? Absolutely, dude. I'll be down there tomorrow. So we talked. They said, okay, you really gonna come through? I said, absolutely, because I know if I pass this deal up, that kayak is gonna be gone. I will never see a deal like that again. And so he had the title. He gave me the trolling motor along with it, man. I mean, but now I've seen the Ascend 133X, and I was like, whoa, I gotta have that kayak.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, the Ascend, I mean, you got to think, like, I've had issues with some of their kayaks in the past, but like every single one that they put out is a little bit, they seem to listen to the anglers because every single one they put out is a little bit better. So, I mean, I'd be all over that if I was you. The price is usually right, isn't it?
It was like $1,200. It's like, I could work with that, man. I'll go right. And the thing is, a buddy of mine sent a video of it to me from Bass Pro, and they had the price tag on it and everything. I was like, dang, man, I might have to get that, sell the New Canoe, man, and somewhat make my money back off of that. But I fell in love. I was like, whoa, that's a big kayak right there. But I've heard that thing is heavy too.
I mean, yeah, but like guys from my size to your size, we need bigger kayaks. So
very true. Even my size, that New Canoe holds me up pretty fine. And I got guys, short fishermen in the catfish community, like, man, you're too big to be on a kayak. Dog, this kayak will hold 2 of me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's what I was telling you, Brandon. Get the Jackson Big Rig, man. That thing is a big rig. That thing is huge.
I'm gonna check it out now, man. Because I think one thing
not cheap though, man. Like somebody, I think Rashawn just said something about getting a Hobie. Like for me, man,
Rashawn got a nice setup on his kayak.
I just can't justify like spending $25,000-$30,000 on a piece of plastic, man. That's just, come on now.
I mean, but the thing is though, like Rashawn, Donald Jones, when they out there, I mean, I've seen Rashawn doing all kind of crazy stuff on his kayak, and it's holding him up just fine. So, and the way I look at it too, you got to think when you're in a kayak, this is a device that you're putting your life in its hand, and you're in this device's hands. So, me, I could justify spending that kind of money on something like that. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Butch, I hear you, man.
But Butch is on that kayak all the time. I mean, he pedals that thing like it's nothing, like it's a bicycle. I mean,
I got to get more. Well, one, I got to kind of pull myself away from my side hustles, because when I'm not doing UPS, I'm grinding, just trying to save up for what I'm about to do with my life here in the next like year or two. And it's like, it's like I don't feel burned out from like working so much, but it's like, man, I do miss fishing. I want to get back into it, man. It's been so long. Like I've dropped hardly any videos this year. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta get back on it.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, when you got it like the Baltimore Angler, you said you're getting subs just by.
It's crazy because it's like the subs are still rolling in. I haven't done a doggone thing. I still got people like my Jello. I went into greater detail with how the Jello garlic chicken bait works, and that video got a lot of positive reviews. I still get people who say, hey, I tried this bait out, man. That bait was awesome, man. Thank you for the advice. Because I told people how to best use it. There's a good practical way to using that bait. And then if you just let it just sit outside, it's not going to be effective, so.
See, you know what that was right there? That's what you call a hook. Because what you just did was you said, I go into it in more detail on my channel if you'd like to go and subscribe there.
Yeah.
So this is why you keep getting subscriptions when you're not even trying.
And then
Brandon,
also,
we do have to give away a prize for the night. So do you remember who asked the best question?
who has the best question, man? I know Kevin Hogan had asked an awesome question, and you know what? Kevin Hogan and I, man, we've had some lunch dates where we just talk stuff. And one thing I really appreciate about
Lunch dates. That sounds so romantic.
Business lunch dates. You know what I'm saying? Kevin, you still here? And it's just like, you know, he keeps my eyes open on just everything, man. And you know, he keeps it real with me. He never sugarcoats stuff, and he'll put me on the spot and ask me hard questions. And you know, he's helped me. I haven't released it yet, but I got a new logo courtesy of Kevin, man. I have a new logo, and it is specifically designed and tailored for me because the logo I have now. That's right. Because my current logo, you know, Kevin actually found other people who use his logo because I just went on like Fiverr, paid a little bit of money, and now I've seen, okay, well, they just have templates of this and just give them out and just collect the money. So it's like, dang, okay. But you know, Kevin asked the questions. I think I'm gonna bless Kevin Hogan with this, man. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Hogan, you know what I'm saying?
It's funny when I first saw it, I was like, "That's got Kevin written all over it."
Man, look, High Hook. I keep in close contact with them. They're based out of New York, and if you order stuff from them, trust and believe it's not going to be late. If they tell you it's going to be on a certain date, it's going to be there on a certain date. They don't ever have no issues with getting their products out. They'll even send you a message on Instagram, "Hey, going to the post office now to send it out." You know, and Kevin, I will personally hand deliver this to you because when I ordered spices from him last time, even though he don't live too far from me in Maryland, it took like almost a year before I got here because the post office up here is awful, dude. They are horrible. But Kevin, this is yours right here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, guys, in the comments, I just put here we go. Bass Rack Outdoors, just giving my man Kevin a plug. The spices that TBA is referring to, you can get those at Bass Rack Outdoors. It's good stuff, man.
It's some good stuff for real. I ain't lying. Oh my gosh, yo,
good stuff. TBA, man, my man, thanks so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure. Man, we should do this again sometimes.
Man, we should do this. I need to hit you up so we can get out there on a boat and get some.
Let's not do this sometime. How about that's what we do? We'll do a live cast from the boat.
Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm with it.
let's do it, man. Just reach out to me anytime, and you know, we can make it happen.
Cool. I'm with it, man. I'm with it.
All right, bro. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks everybody for watching, guys. We will be back next week, 7 p.m. All right. Thanks for watching.